Welcome to the Client Magnet Podcast, where we're going to deep dive into the world of personal training and we're going to equip you with the knowledge and the strategies on how to excel in your personal training business. If you're passionate about fitness and you want to take your game to the next level, then this is the right place for you. In each episode, we're going to bring you expert interviews, real life success stories, and actionable tips that you can implement immediately, from crafting and compelling pitches to connecting authentically with potential clients. We'll leave no stone unturned in your quest to help you become a fitness professional. Personal training services just isn't about making sales, but it is about forging meaningful relationships and guiding individuals towards their fitness goals. And we believe in combining those two things will help you make this a long-lasting career. Get ready to embrace the art of personal training and the science of selling and connecting you with the joy of transforming life. This is the Client Magnet Podcast, and I'm your host, Manny Fraser. Let's dive in. What's up, guys? I'm here to talk to you about being a client magnet. So before I start, let me tell you about my journey in terms of going into personal training and sales development. Realistically, my goal is to share with you how I have found success through personal training and also through sales. My goal is to mentor you, where most trainers come in this place, in this business, where they're not having difficulty seeing themselves win. Most of us come into this because we just want to train people. We want to get in, we want to work out, we want to help people work out. But no one said anything about the sales part. And or we hear about the sales part and we are just like, oh, this is not what I expected it to be. So let me tell you about my personal journey of how I actually got to the point where I am today. So my name's Manny Fraser. I started as a personal trainer 20 some odd years ago in a place in Toronto. I started training people on the side, doing this all pretty much just for whatever I can make, right? It was always on the side of my other jobs. I trained friends, I trained family, I trained anybody that would let me train them. It wasn't until I went to prison in 2010 when I decided to sit down and look at myself, look at what I needed to do because of my issues. And I looked at, like, what do I need to do to make sure I'm able to do this? I want to do this. I sat down in a jail cell, and I literally thought to myself, okay, I want to be a personal trainer. And I also want to be I want to be helping personal trainers. This is what I sat down there for 4 years thinking this through. I didn't know how to actually do it. I didn't know how to utilize my story. I didn't know how to utilize anything. And when I was able to get out of prison in 2013, I sought to run after this thing. I applied to a bunch of gyms. No one hired me. And I realized, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this dream's not going to be what it is. I went to work at a car wash. And then from there, I remember I was sitting down with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and we're sitting down and talking. And she asked me, I couldn't hear her because the car wash is, I don't know if you guys think about it, has these loud vacuums. And at the time, I felt like my ears were always plugged because of that loud noise. And then she's like, this is not it. You got to figure out something. So I'm like, okay, let's chase this dream of being a personal trainer again. I chased the dream of being a personal trainer again. I get in there, and it was a big box gym in Canada that ended up hiring me. I went there, I ended up getting the job, and the rest is history. I say the rest is history. There's a lot more. There's a lot of challenges that I faced when I first started. One was I was an ex-convict. I just recently got out of prison and I was on parole. So that was a whole mess in itself because mentally I was always on edge because at any point I can get thrown back in. The next thing was, in terms of it, is that this is a really hard job because you want this job, but then it's the part of it's getting out of your comfort zone, which that's very challenging. I want to sit down and do nothing. I want to sit down and just relax. I want people to just come and train with me. I don't want to go find them. Like if I can snap my fingers and have 15 people train with me, I would, and make all the money in the world. That'd be great. But that wasn't my reality. So what I had to figure out is like, how can I make this happen? Um, the biggest thing that I looked at was like my 90 days, my first 90 days. My first 90 days were a sprint. And I've heard this before, and it conceptualized what I thought about, what I did. Like I didn't realize what I was doing. Success loves speed. And so instead of trying to limit the amount that I would do, I was like, I'm willing to do as much as possible, as much as I can humanly do. So my biggest thing was like, okay, let me do as much as possible for me to be able to be successful in this. So what did I do? I opened up my schedule. I opened up my schedule early in the morning to late at night. So I was there. The earliest I'd show up is like 8, 9, and the latest I'd be there is till 8, 9. So I was willing to give myself 12 to 13 hours of just being in the gym. I didn't complain about it. I didn't get paid for it. I was just there because I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to be here more than everyone else. So I knew that if I'm willing to be there more than everyone else, there's a bigger opportunity for me to get clients faster than everyone else. I remember subscribing to a newsletter, such as the one you're probably listening to right now, a podcast. There were no podcasts at the time, or podcasts weren't as big at the time. And I would read the newsletter, and the newsletter said, okay, number one thing you want to do is you want to focus on getting 2 clients a month. So that's all I focused on. Focus on how can I get 2 clients a month. People would say I want to get 5 clients. People would say I want to get 6 clients. I just said I want 2 clients a month. That's all I focused on. So now you can see that as a problem, and now I'm solving this problem. How am I going to get 2 clients a month? So like I would start boot camps and I would count those as a client. I would get another short-term client. And it wasn't until my third month that I signed up my first 2 long-term clients. And then from there, that's when I took off. I finally understood this. And I went through the process of doing 20 consults with people every single month and went from anywhere between 2 and 4 clients a month. The thing that really helped me was my perseverance to push through the first 3 months. Oh, for a lot of trainers, that's the hardest part. It's the part of pushing through what is your limitation. Your limitation right now, the thing that's holding you back right now is yourself. It's not anything else. It's not no one else. There's no outside external sources. It's the internal source of you. And that internal source of you is holding you back from doing what you say you want to do, your passion of being a personal trainer. That biggest point right there is what I decided what I was going to do that day. So I realized I'm like, okay, cool. Boom. I'm going to be a personal trainer. I'm going to do this. And it was my first 3 months where I decided this. Okay. If this story helps you in any sort of way, I want you to understand this. My goal is to help you guys through these stories, through my life, through being a personal trainer over the last 20 years, going through a lot of different pain points, but also like in terms of it's not just the sales side, but it's understanding the journey. And it's like, okay, how do you become a client magnet? How did I become a client magnet there? I was just there more than everyone else. My idea of personal training was this: I am a business. I'm no different than a convenience store. If I go to a convenience store and the convenience store is closed, I'm going to go find the next convenience store. So, as a personal trainer, if especially in the beginning and you're trying to get a name for yourself, by a name for yourself, you're just trying to get people. Because the more people have under your belt, you can build a portfolio of clients and successes. And so the more people you have, the more successes you have, and the more people you can draw to. So when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, cool. I got to be able to develop this portfolio of clients and success. I was just willing to do more than everybody else. So I was willing to work more than everyone else. I was willing to have more time than everybody else. So when it came down to it, I just had more clients than everybody else. And then from there, I worked that schedule for about 6 months. And then I was able to condense it from there. I was able to tell people, I'm like, hey, so you train at 8 p.m. Is there any way you can come in the morning time now? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, cool. Let's get you in the morning time. Hey, you train in the afternoon time. Is there any way you can train earlier in the afternoon or later in the morning? I can do that and just figure out ways to switch people around, asking for referrals. But referrals don't come from referrals don't come until you can give great service. And so the main thing I focused on is just great service with every single person. That way, whenever people saw me, they saw, okay, this is great service. I love this. And then from there, the rest is history. And that's how I became a client magnet. I was able to take that everywhere I went. It didn't matter what club I was at, I was able to do it. Now, personal training within a big box gym is different than personal training outside of a big box gym, but it's not. And what I mean by that is that personal training in a big box gym, the only difference between it is that you're not the salesperson. Like word of mouth is really important outside of a big box gym, but word of mouth is important in a big box gym too. No matter what, you're still doing the exact same thing, which is just being a personal trainer and running your business. Whether it's in a big box gym or not, you're running a business. And that's how you got to treat it as. If you don't work, no one works. That's it. And that's how that's why I thought about the convenience store, because I thought about the fact that if I don't actually run this, if I don't do anything, then I'm not getting paid, right? No one's buying a bag of chips from me. They're going to go to the other convenience store and be more convenient. So I was trying to be as convenient as possible with every single person that I met. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to be trying to drop new episodes of this podcast at least twice a week to start off with. If you found if you found anything out of this, make sure you share it with any of your friends, anyone that you know that is a personal trainer or wants to be a personal trainer and wants to get into success in personal training. Okay? Take care. Peace. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, inspiring change, and making a lasting impact through the personal training. Stay motivated, stay committed, and remember, the journey to excellence is just beginning. This has been Manny Fraser signing off. Keep shining, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Happy coaching!